Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story involves a mother who is also a teacher, so I needed to make sure and clarify that. But she's also the mother of the little girl that's in this story, and what happened to them was unfair. It sucks really bad. The fact that a lot of us struggle with picking proper dating mates. It's a difficult thing. Men and women go through it. A lot of times we feel like we might know someone. They always put their best foot forward. And guess what? Sometimes you don't find out they're assholes until it's too late, right? And that's just the truth of it. So I don't blame anybody for getting in relationships and they realize it's not where they should be. But sometimes if we get an opportunity to use our discernment to be able to see through a situation and really see through the heart of a problem, or even something as simple as doing a background check on someone before we allow them around our children. It's not that expensive. Excuse me. What am I trying to say? It's not an expensive investment. I don't know why I get tongue tied trying to say that. It is not an expensive investment, and it is an investment that you cannot afford to neglect, especially when you have characters like this who, I don't know if he looks like a typical trucker or not. But I'm going to tell you guys from this picture right here, here's the scary part about it. Just from looking at this picture alone, that is the same individual. That is the same man. When I looked at it, I thought it was two different people. Why is that important? The reason why that's important is because they can't find this man. Why can't they find this man? Because this man is used to the road, used to the highway, used to being in other cities and states, could potentially have a double, triple, quadruple life, whatever it is. He could be living up under another woman, hiding up under another woman, other family members, friends, anything. So let me explain to you guys why it's so important that you find this individual by the name of J.T. McLean. In New Bloomfield, authorities Monday released the cause of death of a mother and her 11-year-old daughter who were murdered in their Boone County home last Sunday. Meanwhile, the search for the killer continues. They have not found him. Court documents show J.T. McLean, again, that's the individual that you see here, he strangled Allison Abbott's and drowned her 11-year-old daughter, Josie, in their Boone County home. According to court documents, and I need to make sure that people understand what I'm saying. I tell people all the time because they come to my comment section and they wonder why I don't allow them to stay in my comment section. Because a lot of times people will get in their little feelings and they'll say, well, Jay, you don't know what you're talking about. If you weren't there, you shouldn't speak about these situations. How many of you guys think that that's fair? Because I don't. I don't think that anybody should be able to tell someone if you weren't there, you shouldn't have an opinion about it, shouldn't have a thought about it, especially when you have facts in front of you. Let me explain why. Because you might look at it and say, well, Jay, you're on YouTube. What do you know? You would also have to ask the same thing of the police, of the coroner, the medical examiner, the judges, potentially a jury, potentially the defense attorneys. Do you guys kind of see how those things can get intertwined, and you would actually have to apply that same logic over to everyone else that's involved in this story? Because none of us were there, nor would we want to be. So we're having to go on what we know, and this is coming from court documents. This is what they're going to use against this man in court. So according to court documents, 43-year-old Allison Abbott's, which is, let me see if I can get mom up here. That's the baby girl right there. Beautiful little smile. That's mom. She looks just like her daughter. Wow. That is her twin. You guys cannot tell me they don't look alike. That is definitely a splitting image of mom. 43-year-old Allison Abbott's was strangled and her 11-year-old daughter Josie was drowned in a bathtub. How many more times are we going to have to talk about children being dead and bathtubs? bathtubs this year. Again and again and again. All I'm saying is it's just strange how all of these children murders and deaths keep happening, and somehow they all end up in the bathtub. I just think it's a really weird dynamic that we continue to keep talking about with all of our stories. Like, some of y'all have been watching me for a while. Most of y'all know that that's true. I have lost count with how many stories we've talked about where children end up in bathtubs some type of way. But maybe we need to start keeping track of that. Nonetheless, 45-year-old JT McLean, so he was only 2 years older than her, which was her boyfriend, is suspected in the killings, according to Boone County Sheriff's Department. He has still not been found. The bodies of the victims were discovered after a concerned relative contacted authorities after the two could not be reached by phone. Good. I'm glad somebody at least thought to try to reach them, contact them, so that's a good thing. A probable cause statement says that when the police entered the home on August the 22nd, only a few weeks ago, they found the body of the mother in bed wearing only a t-shirt, and it had been pulled around her neck. She clearly had been strangled. Josie Abbott's was found in a bathtub full of water, wearing pajama shorts and a top. Evidence indicates that she was drowned. A warrant for McLean's arrest was issued, and his bond is set at $1 million cash only. He is a white male with fair complexion. He's approximately 5'9". As you guys can see, he's a little bit short there on that scale, which is why he's only about halfway in that picture. He's a little short, little fart. And he weighs about 210 pounds. McLean has green eyes and brown hair. He was last known to have grown his hair out. However, he has been known to shave his head bald in the past. So again, we're talking about a man trying to be a chameleon, trying to blend in, trying to get away, because initially you might look for this photo and he might look like something different, which is why I say that can be a scary thing as far as finding him. A witness told investigators that all three were at the witness's house until about 10:30 on an evening of Saturday, August the 21st. A receipt from a local Hy-Vee from 11:06 that evening was found in the victim's home on Lavender Drive. Video from the store shows Allison, the mother, and McLean leaving together. At 11:22 that evening, McLean's car can be seen on the security camera entering the victim's subdivision. What would we ever do without cameras, without Ring cameras? They help tie together a lot of clues. At 11:22 that evening, McLean's car was seen, again on security camera, entering the victim's subdivision. At 10:15, the following morning, it can be seen leaving. Therefore, deputies believe that the Abbottses were killed sometime between 11:22 Saturday night and 10:15 Sunday morning. McLean had a cell phone which was inactivated at 10:21 a.m. Saturday morning. McLean's car was found at a residence in Callaway County, where they discovered a burn pile containing the remains of 2 burnt cell phones. This man sounds like an expert killer, does he not? Like he knows how to cover his tracks and get away. McDirty, thank you. McLean McDirty. That's his new name. Thank you. That's his new name. We're gonna call him McDirty. Anybody with information is asked to call the Boone County Sheriff's Office by calling 573-442-6131 or 311. Individuals who want to remain anonymous can call Crime Stoppers at 573-875-8477 or the last 4 digits TIPS. Let me give you guys the fair usage. And again, if you guys are listening to the story, make sure you click that thumbs up, because we want more people to be able to hear the story, find it, and to be able to find this dude before it happens to somebody else. It could happen to one of your family members. What would you do? The least you could do is, if you spot this fool, Mr. McDirty, then you might be able to get him caught before he does it to somebody else, because he sounds like an expert. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys ask me, I totally believe that he's probably done this before and tried to get away with it. Here are the news videos. Let's get it.
And her daughter as the community prepares to come together to mourn their loss. Thanks for choosing us at 6 tonight. I'm Deborah Kendrick.
And I'm Lucas Geisler. Second grade teacher Allison Abbott and her daughter were found dead in their home on Sunday. Boone County deputies are investigating the case.
ABC 17's Hannah Falcon is live at Bush Elementary in Fulton, where Abbott's worked, after talking to law enforcement and school officials there. And Hannah, what's the latest on this investigation?
Deb, Lucas, last I heard, the Boone County Sheriff's Office is still investigating this. They haven't found any evidence as to whether this was a random attack or targeted. Some community members here in Fulton will hold a vigil tomorrow night to honor the memory of Allison and her daughter Josie. The vigil will take place at Southside Baptist Church in Fulton starting at 7 p.m. Fulton Public Schools released a statement today to tell people about the vigil and say it is deeply saddened by Allison and Josie's passing. The vigil is one way for those who knew the Abbotts to cope with the grief. One MU child psychologist said it's important for the teachers and other adults to come to terms with the things they're feeling before they help children work through this tragic event.
I imagine a lot of the teachers and the staff are really focused on the kids right now, and they might forget that this is their grief too, you know, losing a coworker and a friend.
And we actually just heard from Captain Brian Lear that the Sheriff's Office will be releasing information on Facebook in any minute now. Reporting live from Fulton, I'm Hannah Falcon, ABC 17 News.
We have some breaking news tonight at 9. A double homicide investigation is underway in Boone County. Last night, a 43-year-old woman and her 11-year-old daughter were both found dead at a Boone County home. The Boone County Sheriff's Department says no one has been charged or arrested so far. ABC 17's Chanel Porter joined us live tonight after visiting that neighborhood where that homicide took place earlier today. And Chanel, Allison Abbott was actually a teacher in Fulton.
Deb, Allison was a second grade teacher here at Bush Elementary School for 5 years before her and her daughter Josie were killed in their home Sunday night in Columbia.
She was a fantastic teacher. She loved her job. She loved her kiddos. An amazing mother, very actively involved in her daughter's life. There wasn't a person in the building that didn't have respect for Allison.
Steelman was a co-worker of Allison Abbott's and also knew her daughter, Josie. She said the news of both of their deaths came as a shock. The mother...
I'm curious, and I've been thinking this ever since I've been reading this story, and a lot of times I usually will have some type of motive. I could speculate on a whole lot of stuff, and I don't want to go too far off the deep end about why this man would have felt the need to eliminate witnesses, aka his girlfriend, aka her daughter. But I have some speculations. If you guys want to post your speculations in the chat, it's okay, because right now we don't have answers. Why do y'all think he did this? Because I think that's very important. I don't think you just wake up one day and feel like somebody needs to be dead. I feel like there's a reason. He must have done something wrong and was probably trying to cover up evidence.
Mother and daughter were killed in their home on Lavender Drive in Columbia Sunday night. The Boone County...
Maybe involving that 11-year-old little girl, her daughter, perhaps. Because I can't think of what else it might be.
The Sheriff's Office responded to the home late Sunday after getting a call from a concerned family member. Neighbors in the area tell me the two moved into this home in May. The Fulton School District said it has brought in counselors for students and staff today. Plus, they are starting classes on Wednesday and will have help available then. An expert of child psychology at Mizzou said it's important to be straightforward with kids in these horrific situations.
Reality is that kids know what's happening and they can kind of sense when things are feeling a little uncertain or feeling a little stressful. They pick up on that energy. And so really kind of glossing over it might actually increase some of their anxiety.
Steelman said so many people in the school districts will be impacted by the losses.
She was actively involved in doing what she could to close the gaps. She was really good at building relationships with her kiddos and also with each of her coworkers.
Hollander said it's important for the adults involved to also take their time to grieve.
The teachers and the staff are really focused on the kids right now, and they might forget that this is their grief too, losing a coworker and a friend. And so, having space to say her name, to remember her, to celebrate her life.
They don't seem very distraught to me. Not saying that they should be acting crazy and crying and hollering, but they just don't really seem that distraught. But I'm telling you guys, I think a possible motive has to do specifically with her daughter.
In an ABC 17 News crime alert, the Boone County Sheriff's Office is searching for answers this morning after a double murder of a mom and daughter. ABC 17's Megan Drakis is live at Bush Elementary School in Fulton. That's where the mother worked as a second grade teacher. Megan, the district has brought in counselors for both students and teachers.
Molly, counselors are set to be on hand here tomorrow as the first day of school commences here at Bush Elementary. The first day of school will be a somber one, with the community grieving from the loss of Allison Abitz and her 11-year-old daughter, Josie. Late Sunday night, Boone County Sheriff's Office responded to the victim's home on Lavender Drive, south of Columbia, after getting a call from a concerned family member. There, deputies found 43-year-old Allison Abitz and her daughter Josie dead in their home. This school year would have been Allison's 6th year with Fulton Public Schools. A coworker from Allison's previous job at Tipton Elementary said students in both districts will need support from the losses.
I think the first action is building that community and letting them know that there's counseling services available, whether it's a staff member, family member, or the students that are involved and that were impacted by the loss of Allison and her daughter.
And Molly, I have reached out to the Boone County Sheriff's Office this morning for more information on the double homicide investigation. So far, the office doesn't know if there's a current danger to the public, but says that anyone who's willing to murder a child should be considered unpredictable.
Thank you. That's my point. This is why this is up mostly, I'm sure that's not a term, but I guess it's going to have to be. This is why this is of an utmost concern of ours, because it could happen to another kid. So give me a moment. I think I got him on. All right, we'll just go by your name, Slaying Demons. So you're in the chat, so thank you very much for calling in. What do you kind of know about this particular story?
Well, I don't know about that story. I mean, the guy used to live here in Southern Illinois, and he was dating a neighbor who lives nearby. Always coming home drunk, fighting, abusive, really, really abusive. She had to call the cops several times.
What city?
She didn't have any kids at the time.
What city and what area was this?
This is Southern Illinois, about an hour from St. Louis.
Okay. So we're talking about J.T. McLean, right? The individual on my screen.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't the name he went by here. I don't know what. Okay,
well, hold on. Let's pause there. They say he's also known as John McLean, Stephen Nagy, or Stephen McLean. Do any of those sound familiar?
Stephen McLean. That sounds familiar, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, he was crazy. I mean, I didn't deal with him or nothing, but I mean, like I said, he would come home drunk and beat the crap out of her. She called the police, had him arrested. He'd get right back out, and it was just crazy. And eventually she moved away. So I don't know what happened with him, but he disappeared too. I thought maybe he was behind bars or whatever. This is like 10 years ago.
What do you think of his character as far as him maybe dealing with children?
Oh, he don't have no respect for nobody. Dogs, any type of animals, children, nothing. He don't have respect for nobody. Not even his own mom, He cussed her out, smacked her.
Really?
He's crazy. He's just crazy.
His own mother.
Mm-hmm. He don't have respect for nobody.
So basically, he's violent towards the women he's in a relationship with. Like, is this something that maybe he gets provoked into, or is he just flat out just so much of a jerk he just causes problems and then
because he's always drinking or doing drugs or something, and he's just a mess, He's never a happy guy, never a nice guy, just always starting mess.
Okay. What else can you tell us about him that you know of? Is it any other strange things that you notice about him? And why is it that people have allowed this man to kind of go under the radar for so long? You're talking about 10 years worth.
People act like they're scared of him. The ones here, they act like they were scared of him because he was so nuts, Nobody wanted to deal with it.
How so? Like him carrying weapons? Or because they scared to
because
knuckle
he
up
always
and
threatened
fight
people.
with him?
He'd always threaten somebody, Somebody looked at him the wrong way, I didn't even look his direction. I was like, this fool was crazy. I mean, he's just nuts. Nobody wanted to deal with him, look at him, have anything to, it was. He terrorized the neighborhood. You might as well say. I couldn't wait till he left because he was just hard to deal with. Always causing problems. Police always coming. It was ridiculous.
Do you know if he has like a criminal history? Because I'm sure that if the police were called out there multiple times, this would have come up.
Yeah, he had to have a record. He had to. They were called out there too many times.
So you don't know if he's done like prison time or anything like that?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me he murdered people either, because he was just that crazy.
Wow.
Always threatening folks,
So essentially what he's going to end up trying to do now is find him the next little, what do you call it? Like his next little crawl space and try to restart his life, I guess?
Yeah, find some, desperate, naive, vulnerable female, and it's a shame.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Is it anything else that you wanted to kind of contribute to this, since you say you're at least familiar with this character?
No, that's crazy. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, people like this, they need to be locked up and kept locked up because they're a terror to society, It makes no sense.
Were you familiar with the teacher and the daughter?
No, because that's in a different area. This was like 10 years ago when he lived here.
Okay, fair enough.
But it doesn't surprise me at all, and that's truly sad.
Okay. So at the time when this was going on 10 years ago, like what city, what state was this?
It was a little town in southern Illinois. Centralia.
Okay. So maybe some people out there might kind of be familiar with the history, and maybe more people can jump into these conversations. And like I say, sometimes having these conversations can kind of get us to a point to where we see something, we recognize it, we say something, and get this fool picked up, because this needs to be the absolute last time he puts his hands on anybody.
Right, and it's sad because, we've called the police many a times, but like I said, he just goes in and out. I don't know if he bails himself out or the women drop charges or whatever happens, but he gets right back out, It's like, no, eventually something like this is bound to happen.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right, if nothing else, I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Very interesting. Definitely confirmed some of our fears for sure. And thank you, Slaying Demons, for calling in. Like I say, if you guys do know about these stories, you can absolutely call in. We can keep you anonymous, but you can maybe give us something to work with, because as of right now, we don't have a lot of solid answers. But that definitely kind of makes sense based on what happened here and kind of points towards this individual's character. We got a couple more videos. Let's keep going.
People in mid-Missouri gathered to remember two people killed over the weekend. A church in Fulton hosted a vigil for Allison and Josie Abbotts tonight. The search continues for the man Boone County deputies say killed them. That's J.T. McLean, who you see on your screen. I went to Fulton to see those that showed up to remember the two. Many are still grieving. Sometimes a bit of light cuts through the dark. A rainbow appearing today across the street from Southside Baptist Church in Fulton. In there, people gathered to remember Allison and Josie Abbotts, two people law enforcement say were killed in their Boone County home on Sunday. A church leader said we weren't allowed inside today to respect the family's privacy, but the parking lot filled up by 7 with those attending. We've heard stories all week from those that say the Abbottses brought light to their lives. Fulton School Superintendent Dr. Ty Crane called Allison, who taught at Bush Elementary School, a beloved teacher, and Josie, a friend to all. Quote, as a community, we must all band together to be there for one another. Josie's coach, Heather Zepp at Columbia Acro and Team Tumbling, says her smile would light up the room. Quote, Josie and Allison were part of our Acro family, and we will miss both of them. Our team will forever be missing a piece, end quote. J.T. McLean still remains at large. He's charged with first-degree murder for the Abbotts' deaths. Captain Brian Lear tells me tonight there's still no update in the case.
Allison was a very sweet and a very soft-spoken but accomplished teacher in our district. We were very blessed to have her as part of our district, and as well as her daughter.
43-year-old Allison Abbotts was a second-grade teacher at Bush Elementary School in the Fulton Public School District. These are some pictures of Allison from her Facebook page. She was set to start her 6th year at the district tomorrow.
A tragedy. I don't even know how to respond to it. She was a fantastic teacher. She loved her job. She loved her kiddos. An amazing mother.
Her daughter, 11-year-old Josie Abbotts, was set to start her first day of 6th grade tomorrow. On Sunday night, the Boone County Sheriff's Office found both Allison and Josie dead in their home on Lavender Drive, located just south of Columbia. The Sheriff's Office said the mother and daughter were victims of a homicide. Now the Fulton community is banding together after their loss.
Fulton is a community that always comes together and supports the school district, supports each other, and I'm confident that they'll do so with this tragic situation.
The district has 4 social workers along with multiple counselors to help students and staff cope with the situation.
We'll continue to be available for as long as we need them for any students who need to talk.
Since publishing the initial release yesterday, the Sheriff's Office said it isn't able to give any more information at this time, but did say the findings of the autopsies will be important to the case.
That was ABC 17's Megan Drakis reporting.
Oh, man. This story is really wild, and here's what I believe now, especially with the information that we got. And again, thank you, Slaying Demons, for calling in and giving your opinion. As far as what you know, especially from a previous, like years ago, about this individual. So it seems like this man was probably super controlling, a very violent individual. And you know what? I think this counts as when you date thugs, you date death. And maybe this thing would have been on his record if we would have done a background check. Maybe it's possible that this mother could have found out that this individual was already violent, already had the police calling him a number of times. I'm sure that type of thing is documented. You would have been able to find it. But another thing that also makes it difficult is the fact that he was assuming multiple identities, and he also changed his looks as well. So he was trying to be a chameleon and slip through the system and take advantage not only of this mother, but of other people. Taking advantage of people's kindness, but such a dangerous thing, especially when you're dating and you think you fall in love with somebody and you don't realize that it's going to affect your children as well, whatever decisions that you make. I think this should serve as an important reminder, maybe not to not date at all when you have kids, but I think it's worth considering that if you are a parent, if you already have children, then dating might be the last thing that we should be trying to do. Cohabitating should be the last thing that we're talking about trying to do. It's just a very dangerous thing. Now, if you're able to interact with an individual and your children are nowhere to be found in those situations, like wherever y'all are meeting up at, hanging out at, if you're going to where they're at, when you got some spare time, when somebody can supervise your children, watch your children, babysit your children in a responsible fashion, then yeah, maybe go on a date then. Maybe go see the man then. Maybe go to his house. I bet you he didn't have a house. Not out there in that area. especially with him being a truck driver, because you can't just nestle down in one place. You could, but a lot of them end up not doing that because they have to do what's best for their career. In this case, this man needs to be caught. He needs to be found. And all of his aliases, let me make sure and get these back up on the screen so you guys can know that he was definitely using different names. He's taking on different forms, trying to look different. See if I can get that back up here for you. Like this. If it were me looking at this, I would think that were two completely different people just because he shaved his face, smiled, and had a slightly different hairstyle. It would, when he shaved his head right here, that looks like a different person. When you look at him here, all of those individuals look like three completely different folks. And I think he knows that, and he's taking advantage. But this time when they lock his ass up, they need to not let him back out anymore. Let me see if I can get his aliases up here real quick, and we'll wrap up. Give me a moment. So one of my pictures. Aliases: John McLean, Stephen Nagy, N-A-G-Y, or Stephen McLean. If you guys have information, make sure if you see something, say something. Call 911. Get his ass locked up. All right. Thank you guys so much. And to the mom and to the daughter, R.I.P. But use these stories as a cautionary tale to mothers. Please be careful, and please make sure that you are quite aware of who you bring around your children. Don't bring men around your children. If you can avoid that completely, that'll probably be the best course of action, okay? Thank y'all for listening to the story with an open mind and with an open heart. Thank you.